Hello, my name is James Swift. Welcome to Studio Talks.
I'm Josh McNorton, and our guest today is
Laura Bevan.
Hey Laura, are you okay?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you guys?
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
good. Yeah, I'm alright. How are you doing in the lockdown?
I guess probably the same as most other people. I've had up days and down days. I'm missing the studio. I think that's sort of one of the biggest things is the social aspect. We're very much a part of the studio on a weekly basis, and there were other groups that we participated in. So I'm really missing that. But yeah, besides that, working from home, trying to catch up with people on Zoom, which has been a revelation. So not too bad, really. It's just plodding on.
Oh, excellent. Do you have any advice for people who might be struggling or anything?
Well, I suppose being a mum, because I've got two young girls at home as well, so I'm working from home and trying to manage that and school them. I think the biggest piece of advice is just don't beat yourself up. But I think you can put that across the board, really, because I think people are comparing on social media a little bit too much, and if you've not done the best DIY project or renovated your house or written that book you always said you would, everyone's sort of feeling you failed, but really we're all just trying to muddle through as best we can.
Oh, that's nice. That's lovely. Yeah.
What's your history with the studio?
Oh, I've got a long history with the studio. So I got the studio when it was kind of part of the Queen's Hall, so they would have the main hall that they would usually have the main acts and the main sort of performances. From about 13, I've used the studio. So I did a little stint with a theatre production there where I played a child and a rat as part of the Pied Piper, and we took that around some primary schools. And then a little bit later, I was a part of a punk band, because they used to work quite closely with Halton Borough Council as well, and a lot of their music courses ran through the studio. So me and some friends, inspired by the Spice Girls, would you believe, started an all-girl punk band, because that was we could
Oh, that sounds awesome.
So yeah, it was good fun. There's some, I keep trying to share the pictures. I will share them at some point. But yeah, we probably weren't the best, but we had absolute great fun, and we actually did our first and only performance at the studio as well. So it's got a bit of a place in my heart.
That's really nice. I think when with that type of stuff, joy should come first, and anything else comes after, I think. So what inspired you to create the Fortuna Female Society?
So the Fortuna Female Society is a women's group. It's a safe space where women can meet, and we try different activities and workshops to try and sort of educate women where they need to, or give them an opportunity to try something new. And it actually came off the back of an annual event called Women Shall Overcome. So that was part of the anti-austerity movement, We Shall Overcome, but we looked at issues that specifically impacted on women. So that could be issues in the workplace, challenges that they felt through discrimination, and just looking at those and having people come and talk about it. Issues perhaps that some females might find in the performance industry. So we try and sort of encourage female performers and female volunteers to get involved, and as well we collect sanitary and toiletry donations that go out to local organisations, because again that's something that impacts women. If anybody can find themselves in difficult times, but then women have that added sort of extra difficulty. So yeah, it was just off the back of that, really. That's where it came from.
Oh, that's really lovely. That's really nice.
Well, we're speaking about the Fortuna Female Society. How's it been affected by the lockdown?
Well, obviously we can't physically meet. We're not able to put on the activities and give that support that we would normally give. Meeting in the studio. We still try to maintain contact with people via email and obviously through Zoom, and we have WhatsApp groups and things like that. But as I said when we first began, it's such a difficulty, really. When you're so used to it being such a social thing and being in a space and being together, to have that taken away. So we're just sort of still finding our feet adapting to that, really, at the moment.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? Because it just seemed to all happen at once, and we've all got to kind of find a way to work around it. If it all happened gradually, I think we would have. Do you know what I mean?
I think it'd have been a lot better if it just slowly. They just took everything away straight away.
Yeah, one day it's just like staying.
Yeah.
And And I think what will happen is off the back of it, we'll find that it will probably fundamentally change the way we do a lot of things. And the things like the Zoom and the having to reach out, via WhatsApp and things like that, and being more conscious of that, could potentially mean you can reach more people, because you can continue with that and still then those that can't access you physically can still get that sort of support, which perhaps we neglected a bit before. But, I think that, people need that interaction, one-to-one and physically and in a space where, you can sort of be a bit free and let go.
I found it the opposite me, because I've not really been speaking to that many people online. Like, I've come to Zoom meetings with work, I speak to James, but because like all my friends don't really use the phones that much, I found like this lockdown's really affected all of us, because we're all just sat there, like we're trying to talk to each other, but just no one really knows what to do.
Yeah.
In terms of like the studio, I mean, like what I found is as you say, we've been able to get in touch with people, like with this podcast. Like we've been able to talk to people who we probably wouldn't be able to get into the studio to record with us. So I don't know if it's benefit. It's definitely not benefit, but like it has kind of helped to get in touch with people who may not have been able to get in touch with.
Yeah, well, I think that part of it is being able to take the positive. It's such an awful situation. If you can take those positive bits and then add that on to, whatever sort of normality we get back to, like say, you might feel more confident now reaching out further afield. I think like a couple of groups that I've been on Twitter and things like that, where they put out a question and answer and you join in and you end up like having conversations with people from all over the country. And I would never have took the time to do that had we not been in the lockdown. Well, it's been good from that point of view, but yeah, I still can't wait for it to open.
So what is it like to run your own events, such as like Great Get Together and like Women Should Overcome?
Do you want it in just a few words? Like chaotic, mental. Yeah, I mean it's all those things, but it's such an achievement when you do it. I mean, you guys must know when you're involved in things in the studio, when you start out with your things and you talk about what you'd like to do, to actually see that come to fruition and how that actually looks is pretty amazing. And what's been good about the two that I'm involved in is we always get that charity element. So I don't know if you were there when we did the first Women Shall Overcome, and just the amount of things, so
it's really good.
I think the Great Get Together last year was very good, like well put together.
Really was.
Seeing everyone come together in like that.
The whole weekend was a big like a spectacle essentially.
Like a massive event, weren't it? Yeah.
It's very
well, I think that's a testament to the support of the studio. I mean, with the Great Get Together, the first year Louise and I sort of ran separate events but supported each other on the event. And then after that first year, we started to work together and like Keith and Jed and John got more involved. And I think once you've got that core team, it just goes to show it's what the message is all about, isn't it? Two people, sort of different things, were great and fine. But once we came together and actually had a team, we were able to put on a full weekend with everyone. So yeah, it was great actually. Yeah.
I think that's good with the studio, where it's like we've run, me and Meg has run like a couple of Comic Cons now, and it's you're kind of like, how are we going to do all this? And then suddenly, as you say, like Keith, John, and like Jed, and people just they're saviors essentially, aren't they? They really do help out the volunteers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean that's a key part of the studio, and what they do is not just being a place for people to go, but it's that empowerment that they give to people as well to
definitely
be to have a go at what they want to do. I mean, Kirsty and Elsie are part of the writing,
exactly. Yeah, Kirsty. There's a couple times where we're kind of lost without Kirsty, because she does the door a lot of the time. I mean, in any of them really, she does the door a lot. She's really, really good at it.
She's good at the people on the doors. I've always been sat on the doors. I mean, the two events I've done it. And she's like she'll ask you about the costumes and what they are.
Exactly, yeah. To be brave and say, like, because I think I'd be terrified to say what you're supposed to be, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. But, I mean, she definitely does it really well and stuff.
Yeah, I think there's a great great team there now, isn't there? And you know, I certainly wouldn't have gone from strength to strength year on year without the support of the studio. It's strange to go back to the question about the history, to think of being sort of 13, 14 first going, and then the band, and sort of accessing it that way, to then the support it's given me as an adult. And you see so now my girls go and they do the writing and they've been involved in the events, and you know, you can sort of see that next generation now coming through, and you think, wow, where can they take it and what can they do next?
Yeah, I think as you say, with the, you know, like the Saturdays, they're brilliant for younger people to come in for the first time and actually like see what we do. Stuff like that.
Definitely, yeah.
My nephew and niece started going to Saturdays and doing all the tambourine tots because they're a bit younger. And my sister's ex-boyfriend's mum always says she doesn't have to. Jane just looks after them while they play, and it's like the best. It's a nice little community for them.
Yeah.
That's what it's about, really, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It's such a good community in the studio.
Yeah, it's really hard, because when I try and explain what the studio is to people, it's more than a community centre, but it's, although it's focused on the art, it's still very much about community and being like, you know, the heart of the community and bringing people together. So, you know, I always try and explain those two elements of it, community art centre, really, because you know, it doesn't just focus on one or the other. I think that's what's so great about it. If you wanted to go on a Saturday and just have a cup of coffee and have your children there, and they didn't want to do the art but just be there with the other children, then they can do that. But they've got the music element and the art element as well, you know, if they want to get involved.
I think, and also with that, like it's you don't even have to be creative. Like often you can just go in and say, I need to just talk to people today, and you know what I mean, just talk. It's very good at that. Yeah.
How do you plan your own events?
Well, it usually starts off with a bit of a mental idea. So I suppose whenever I'm planning any event, the first thing I think of is, what would I want to go to? That's usually what it focuses around. So with the Great Get Together, it was very much about, well, what kind of day to celebrate the life of Joe Cox and bringing communities together would I want to go to with my family? And that's when we came up with the idea of the live music, being outdoors, having arts and crafts, and, you know, inviting people to come and tell others about, you know, what they do in the community as well. So we quite often have people like Halton Haven, Witness and Monk Cancer Centre, the guides, the children's centres, and people like that. So then they've got that opportunity to engage with families as well. And then the same with Women Shall Overcome. I mean, it changes every year, really. And again, that's because we have more people involved and more ideas flying around. But the first year, I literally went to Louise and said, I want to do a ladies' night, but an alternative one, not one that people would normally think of as a ladies' night, which is usually, you know, lots of drunken women watching men dance on a stage. So we didn't want that. So it had to be a alternative with cocktails in teapots and a fashion show. So that was the remit. And we'll ask everyone to pay with sanitary donations. And so that was what it was on paper. And from that, obviously, it evolved, and it's just turned into, you know, such an amazing event, with this last year having the awards element as well, where we recognised women in the local community for going above and beyond. So, yeah, you start off with one plan, and then it kind of just grows and changes. And a lot, again, you probably realise this, a lot of it depends on who's available, who can help out. It's quite difficult because sometimes, you know, especially with charity, you're asking people to get involved, you know, for free or to give their own time. And again, when we're looking at things that affect women, and I know it doesn't just affect women, it affects people throughout the arts industry. You know, there's a lot of issue around people not actually getting paid what they deserve, really. You know, a lot of people don't see it as a job for them, so they expect it for free all the time. And particularly for women, we want to get away from that idea that they should be expected to do it for free, but as well, you're doing charity. So it's just finding that balance, really, and navigating it, I suppose, as you go through. But again, having a great team on hand like you guys at the studio always helps. So you know your limits that you can take it to. Otherwise, I'd probably have to try and have fireworks getting set up and things like that indoors.
I know this was like when I was, oh God, how old was I? I think I was 16, not 15, I think, I know it doesn't matter. The first gig I ever put on, I thought there'd be like, I've got a picture of it up there. I thought there'd be like railings and security guards and everything. Like I'm massively like, oh God, we can't get security guards to be at the stage so people can't. There's an anecdote, sorry.
But aim big, you should be envisaging it, and then that's where you'll get to.
Exactly, yeah.
Because I've been, before I used to do the voluntary stuff, I used to work in a shopping centre, and I used to be quite involved with the events with them. And we had fashion shows, and they had Peter Andre on one year for the light switch on, and we used to get the CBBS guys in and things. So there always was an element of security, and we used to have because for dealing with the public. And I think I thought my first event was going to be on that scale, and then
same.
as you realise it's not. But every year it's bigger, and this last year I had walkie-talkies, so.
I think from someone who's like Louise or someone who you go to make the plan, I think the main job is to not say no, but try and make it work in more realistic terms, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, so how can people find like the events that you put on?
Okay, so if you go on Facebook, we have the Great Get Together Halton page, which if you just put in Great Get Together Halton, you'll be able to find that. And then under Fortuna Female Society, again, if you search for that on Facebook, you will find it. We generally do things on social media, so there's a Fortuna Female Society Instagram page as well. And there is a Fortuna Female Society and a Great Get Together Halton Twitter. So, I mean, I can perhaps share them online with the studio if they wanted, next time they put something out. So, if you search for Fortuna Female Society on Facebook or the Great Get Together Halton, you can find us on Facebook that way as well. This year, we're not doing a physical event for the Great Get Together because obviously they can't go ahead. But we are looking at ways to perhaps do something online. So if people just make sure they get on the page and follow it and look for the updates, and we will be sort of informing people through the page how they can get involved in that, particularly from, anybody who volunteers or is involved in a group or charity locally. What we'd love is to get some videos from people just sort of talking about perhaps what they're doing in the community at the moment during the current outbreak, or what they do in the community generally, and just so we can kind of get the message out there and celebrate what's going on in Halton.
Excellent. Oh, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for John. It's been lovely to chat to you, and nice to see you as well.
And you, and you. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye.